Hello, everybody. Welcome to this today's webinar talking about what should we call it, class? Data, moving data, transforming data, and ownership of data. Could we say it like that? We actually have quite a lot of attendance today, as we are the whole Europe with us. So we're gonna give everybody a few minutes. But of course, we're going to respect everyone's time and get started maybe around 1 past here. So before we get started, class, I think maybe we could start by presenting ourselves. My name is Brita. I work as the Nordic responsible for what we call Autodesk Construction Cloud, and are specialized when we actually move from the design out on the construction phase, and how we can use a 3D model out in the construction, but also how we can connect the data with everything that happens in out when we start building, together with economical data in order to see, if a project go financially okay or not, and what are the reasons for that. So that's part of my background, and I'm here together with one of my team, that is Claes. You can present yourself.
Thank you. I'm Claes Webgård. I'm working as an application engineer based in Gothenburg in Sweden. And I work mainly with Autodesk Construction Cloud, and I'm doing training, application, learning people how to use it, engaging them, and also all the implementation, and finding out the best ways of getting the maximum out of the system for every user's needs. So everybody's working in a specific way, so we have to tailor the workflows and stuff like that. And that's what I'm doing. And today I'm going to present also our own application called Naviate Nebula. So, but let's see what we're going to show you in this hour we have.
Perfect. So what we are going to talk about today is a lot about, of course, the cloud. Class, we actually never work on-prem as maybe some of our other colleagues does. But we are going to talk about, the cloud is quite diffuse, right? Many of us are already working with SharePoint or other type of cloud solution. It's not always on-prem, but we are going to talk about challenges when it comes to working in the cloud in project, both in the design and out in the construction. Challenges with ownership. Who should actually own the data? Do we actually know who owns the data in our project? And then we're going to talk about how we as Symmetry have actually built technology on top of Autodesk Construction Cloud, mainly in this case, in order to help our clients with ownership of data and moving data from one to another. Perfect. So should we get started?
Just remind everybody that in the end we will have a while where you can ask your questions, and you can do that through the Livestream platform. So you have a special tab called questions where you can just type in whatever questions you have, and hopefully we will have time to go through all of them. And if there are some questions we don't have time to answer, we will of course reach out to you afterwards. And the webinar is being recorded, so and afterwards it will be available to see through our webpage. Good. Let's go ahead with all the interesting stuff.
Yes. So if we look at what we are gonna talk about today, it's of course like what do we get out of moving to a cloud-based platform? And when we are talking about the cloud-based platform, it's mainly Autodesk Construction Cloud. And I think we can go away from being in the cloud or not. We are in 2025. A lot of us are already working in there. But I think what we can be better at is actually utilizing the power of it. So, when we work in the cloud, it makes the possibility to work with even more live design. We can be more designers in one model. We can improve the time it takes between meeting. It could be, I think, anyone that have ever been a designer in a project, when they have to follow up on the PDF meeting follow-ups that you get sent to you. It's all this time that is spent on the manual task that we can make way more live. We can make notifications to our project member and really like collaborate in real time. And what we get from that is that we can also start to analyze data. We can start gathering data. We can see why is our design going well? Why is it not going well? What is actually taking time? Who are the most amazing designers that we work with? Who should we maybe send to a training course in the next couple of months in order to be able to deliver the absolutely best performed projects, both in the design but also out in the construction side. And I think for many people, they always see like, oh, we don't use this live collaboration because it's such a small project. I mean, why not? It should be on every level. In every project, we can utilize the power of working smarter, even in big and small ones. So, for example, in symmetry, I mean, we work with clients working from on huge airports to one family houses. So it could be anything. Kaz, will you move to the next slide?
Yes, of course.
One thing that I think anyone that have been going into a tender or similar, we talk a lot about data security and compliance today. The lists are getting longer and the questions are getting longer on tenders about like how do you actually handle your data in the projects. And of course we have like the system security, but we also have people, and sometimes I feel like we forget people in the project, like the security training that we have to give to our people, because we can go through all these processes of actually getting the system approved, but then we don't have system for actually the people accessing the data. What do they do with it? How do they access it? Where does it go? What are the activities on it? And this is also something that we work a lot with our own technology, but also with Autodesk Construction Cloud, in order to secure what is happening with the data. And data can be 3D models, it can be Excel files, it could be basically anything that we work with in the building projects. So if we go further, Claes, I mean, after working in this industry for me 5 years now, there are some very relevant points when it comes to data ownership. We have had like a financial crisis in many countries in the last couple of years. We have had interest rates growing. We have had contractors that we thought would never go bankrupt, going bankrupt. And this also comes to like who should owns the data and when. And this is very important, because when starting to working in the cloud as well, we have a tendency to depend on someone else. Oh, the owner is providing us with this platform, we are just going to deliver it there. But are you making sure to back up the data that you are delivering? I mean, we see it over and over, companies buying each other. It could be a Chinese company buying a Swedish company. Suddenly all your data are in China, but you were thinking it was in Sweden because someone in Sweden had that company. So this is actually very important also when it comes to changes. Everyone have probably been in project where it's been disputes about invoices. The owner have come with a change and we didn't document it properly. We had already started working, putting concrete on a certain area. We got a change, we had to redo it, and we couldn't document it properly. And then the owner or whoever was going to pay didn't want to pay it. So this is of course very relevant when it comes to data ownership as well. Klaus, I have a question here in the chat. Is it possible to see the slides?
I have fixed everything's up.
Okay, perfect. So it's I just saw it now. So everyone are following here. So what are the consequences then when we don't own the data? So if we can go to the next slides, I think we all have examples of should we say issues coming up when we don't own our own data. It could be any part of the project. But I think some very good example that I have been a part of is, of course, the late owner's decision. The owner comes with changes of the design. They come with changes on the construction side, something they didn't like. And then we are actually, as a contractor or even designers, we are lacking the documentation when we're going to invoice it, maybe a year later when we have actually finished the work. And then they don't want to pay it. And then we cannot document that we have actually started this work. So in Norway, we actually had a project of a general contractor. They had started a specific part of the work. And the owner actually said no, it was around 50,000 euros. And we could actually document that we had started the work already when the change came. And it was like a 50,000 euro invoice that was accepted straight away just by us owning our own data as a contractor, not depending on the owner's system. Of course, we can deliver to the owner's system, but we have to secure that we know when we have done things, why we have done it, when the changes come, also in order to secure our own economy and not have the biggest consequences of it. Klas, I'm thinking that you could take over from here. I think I got my point clear because I had actually a meeting with an owner a couple of months back, and it's a project that I actually work with the designers, and they didn't actually know that they didn't own their own data. So I asked them, hey, like, you know, this project, do you know where the data actually lays? Just to test, you know. I mean, it's a designer they have worked with for years. It's never been any dispute. You know, they are happy collaborators. But I did ask, do you actually know who owns your data in this project? And they say, well, we own the data, of course. And I actually had to inform them that they don't own the data in this project. If this smaller designer company actually go bankrupt, it might get lost. So it is.
Yes, there's a huge difference between having access to data and owning the data.
Exactly.
Perfect. Then I will continue talking more specific about real issues that people are often experiencing when they are working cloud-based. Because as Britt just told you now, there's lots of possibilities, lots of good things about working in the cloud. But of course, we are all experiencing some hand-on issues or tasks that are not as good to do, or they're not pleasant to do because it takes a lot of your creative time, but it's also tasks that actually can end up being a huge mistake, so giving you troubles. And those are the four main things that I have identified that I want to talk specifically about all of them. So firstly, I'm going to talk about the deliveries, because deliveries is a part of every project, because you are producing your stuff in some kind of platform, hopefully a cloud platform, but then you will have to do delivery to another system, and that's also in cloud. This could be very easily done by our system here, which I'll come back to. But it's a time-consuming process because it's done in every project. It's done likely every week, and it's a manual process, so it can actually cause a lot of issues, again, because we are humans and we tend to make mistakes, because if we have to do the same thing over and over again, sometime we will eventually do mistakes, likely. So a good thing to automate, which I will show you. Another common problem is when you're doing migration. It could be, for instance, if a company is buying another company, you want to migrate data. It could be when a project is going from one phase to another and it's another company taking over. And so all of that, it's also a very often thing that happens with migration, moving a lot of amount of data, and you want to actually include the history of the files, and maybe if you have some other parameter data on the file. So again, very tedious. Maybe not something you do every day, but when it's about to be done, it is very time consuming, and again, it could be very. You can have very big troubles if you're having mistakes done through this process. And again, then I'm going to show you an example of consolidation. That's about when you have project data spread on different platforms, then you could actually consolidate them into another one. It could be the project of a process, the planning of a project, and maybe spread out on different phases and different hubs, and then the owner is going to take over the ownership of everything, and it's through a delivery or a handover, and then you want to consolidate it into one specific place. So again, very time consuming, but again, high risk if data loss if you're not knowing what you're doing. And since this is not done so often, that it's actually a risk that you could do because nobody is getting used to do this because it's not done often. But it's very, very important that it's done correctly. And then finally, I'm going to show you examples of handling backups, because again, especially when you have your data in the cloud, you again know the ownership. Maybe you're working on a client account or hub and you want to back up so you own the data yourself. If, for instance, again, the company goes bankrupt, or if there's some contractual disputes and stuff like that, then it's very good for you to have backup on your own side. And again, so it's always good to have a backup, and it could also be actually an obligation due to your insurance companies or the contract you have that you are obligated to do backups. So very, very important step as well. And I will show you how that could be done. But since now everybody is experiencing these problems or issues, that's why we have developed a new tool. So that is, and the tool is called Naviate Nebula. So we just have a small movie showing why.
Ever feel overwhelmed by the sheer amount of data you need to manage on a construction project? Massive files, endless emails, constant searching, storing, migrating, and managing all this data can feel impossible, especially across multiple projects and multiple platforms. Moving data between Autodesk BIM 360 and Autodesk Construction Cloud is time-consuming, complex, and difficult to manage. It gets even more challenging when transferring data across countries and regions to comply with regulations like GDPR, or when archiving all your projects and their associated metadata after a certain number of years. Whilst there are simple solutions for storing data, it's not as simple accessing an archived file, finding who did what, or uncovering that critical email approval, which is crucial for evidence if anything goes wrong on a project. Doing this manually is just not an option. Introducing Symmetry Cloud Solutions, your one-stop solution for cloud data management, making managing construction project data simple, seamless, and stress-free. Quickly and easily migrate data between cloud platforms like Autodesk BIM 360 and Autodesk Construction Cloud securely. Archive project data, complete with all associated metadata, directly to local servers. Maintaining a comprehensive record of document version history and a full audit trail. File important emails with your projects, giving you enhanced visibility and easy access to your communication history. Streamline project administration with features like bulk project creation and efficient user management, saving you time and effort. Smooth data migration, smarter management, secure archiving. Symmetry Cloud Solutions. Smarter project delivery starts with smarter data management. Get started with Symmetry Cloud Solutions.
Ta-da! So the answer to solving all of these tasks from our point of view is Naviate Nebula. So let me just very summarize what we can accomplish with Naviate Nebula. It is a cloud-to-cloud synchronization tool, so we are transferring data from one cloud to another one. It could be from ACC to ACC. It could be from BIM 360 to ACC or vice versa. So that's what we do. We can do this like a one-time job, or we can schedule it automatically, so it will minimize all the manual job. And we do complete data, so we include all of the version if you want to. We can include the file attributes and meet the data automatically. We have the support for all the different regions. They have an Autodesk, so at the moment we have US, EU, and Australia. So it doesn't matter where your data is stored, we can transfer through those. And we, of course, it has a lot of your security, because you can now do this as a backup service, and you can do so. It will just do backup for you every day if you want to. But enough of just PowerPoint. Let's go into the real deal and see how things look and how it is to work with Naviate Nebula. So Nebula is a cloud-based tool as well, so you don't have to install any software. And of course, you will have to buy your license to use the tool. And within the license, you can have different kind of deals. And within that, you can have different kind of data amounts you want to transfer. So that's an easy thing to set up. And then you just have to log in with your Nebula. And of course, you have to use your Autodesk login. And you will also have to, on your ACC account of BIM 360, can have to set up that Nebula has access to that. Then you log in Nebula with your Autodesk authorization stuff, and through that you will see the project that you have access to. So the access is done through the Autodesk user ID. So it's, yeah, if you already is an ACC or BIM 360 user, it's just very easy to use Nebula. You just have to get the license and log in. The first thing I want to give you an example of is the delivery, because there are some smart tools. It's not just a file transfer. We have one important function that actually helps you a lot. So if I'm going into an ACC project, I have one here. It's a ACC based on the European account. I have a project here with different files, and I have a Revit file. And in Revit, there's an important thing. You have, with every file, you have file versions. But in Revit files, there are also a special feature, because every time you're saving in Revit, you're not automatically getting a new version. So I'll just really briefly show you an example of that. So I have the same Revit file here, open in Revit. And when I'm doing changes in this, for instance, if I'm putting in some wardrobes here in that room, that could be useful. Bam, that's good. I have now put them in the file. And so if I'm saving this or even synchronizing it to the cloud, of course, all the changes will be stored and saved, but it will actually not make a new public version. So if I'm looking in my cloud environment, I don't automatically get a version 4 from here. So that's very important. So it's a manual step that you could do before you actually send these files as a delivery. But again, every manual step is a risk for you to forget to do it, because you have to do it every week for it. So that's why we can also update these files automatically with Nebula. So I want to now transfer those files that do in delivery. I have another project here. It's on the US sub, so I'm transferring Europe to US without any problems. I have created a folder here called from Nebula. It's all empty. So let's just see if we can do the transfer with Nebula. So I'm going in here, selecting my European one, and selecting my project. It was called Nebula Source. I see all that stuff here, and I see here as well. This was the architectural one I wanted to send. I see the version, I see everything about the file information here. So I could select all of them if I want to. We can go upwards and select the A folder. Then I can, for instance, I like to just calculate, because then you could decide if I want to do this. If maybe there are some big files in there that messing everything for me, that I would not do the transfer. but this is okay for me, so I will add it to a transfer. I now have a transfer waiting here, so I will select my destination. And this was in the US. Sorry, Cloudy Friday project files and my from Nebula folder. And now I have, of course, I will have to do this delivery. And again, now I could set up. So this should be done all the time. So that's why we set up a schedule. It should be reoccurring. And we should start today. And we'll start, it will actually do it in 4 minutes. So I have now scheduled that should be done today. So let's come back to that after hopefully everything goes through. Now there's dangers doing live stuff like this. So I will then go to the migration thing and we'll talk about that. And then we'll come back to see the result of this. So the migration thing is like when it's some of the process where you're actually transferring data from one system maybe to another one, or it could be an entire project, or it could be specific folders again. And in this case, I would like to show you how we could transfer data from BIM 360. So I have an old project here running in BIM 360. So you see now I'm on that platform. And I have this folder called Architect that I actually want to transfer as well. So let's go to Nebula and let's find that using my, and it's called Symmetry Europe, that one. And this is the one. I have the project. I see again, I have the same data. And if I could just go into here, I will also see that. I'll just show you back here a thing. So I'm just jumping back to BIM 360 because here I have created some attributes and data. This PDF is very important. This one is top secret, or I can even don't miss this or something. So again, attributes you can create. I'll just add data to that, and I want to have that data included to me. That's very important for the receiver to see that data as well. So I want to include that. I can do that with the Nebula. So I'm going to again. I could select all the files here, for instance. I could add to my transfer. Let me find my destination hub. I want to send this to the same project, ACCE, no, sorry. US Cloudy Friday, and I'll just take it here in project files. Migration, and I will do this just once, transfer now. But again, here I have including all the versions, including the attributes. Maybe I forgot this one last time. Let's see that. And so these are the settings that I have here, but I want to keep the folder structure. I want to include all file versions, and I want to include custom attributes. So transfer that for now. And let me just go. So I actually have my home here. I have my schedule. I think I forgot the settings. We will see. Hopefully it works now, or else I will do it again manually. So now I have started that transferring, and it's actually doing all the data right now straight away. And there's a very good thing as well when you're doing transfers like this, because afterwards I can actually go in here and see So you see my completed ones, and I can see, like I tested earlier on, that stuff like this are working. So I can see all the transfer details. I can get download a log file, because that's also a very, very important thing. So after you're done transfer, you can actually validate that you have done the transfer, that the files is done after it, because when the files is pasted in, there's done a validation, so you can see that the file is actually present on the destination and stuff like that. So that's not done if you're doing, for instance, the built-in functionalities within HTC. So this is very unique that we get this validation afterwards. So, but again, hopefully the transfer is doing it straight away now. So it's done. I will come back. We'll see all the results later on, and I'll just start another one called, because I had an issue with the thing we call consolidation. So let's briefly talk about that one, because I want now to take data from 2 different projects and paste them into a third one. I have one again here, Nebula source project, where I actually have some folders here called 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different folders, and they are containing information. Some of them are empty, some of them containing data. And I have another project with the same folders. Let me see, I have this one here. Yeah, I have a lot of folders, but I also have the same one. But they contain the same folders, but they contain different kind of information. So, but I still have the same 5 folders I want to consolidate together with the one. And I have prepared my destination, where I have created the same 5 folders. And these could, because the smart thing with it is, these folders maybe could be created by a template when you create a project, and then they could be set up in advance with all the rights, the permissions and stuff like that. So that's a good thing. So you can actually create those in advance and with permissions. But here I have just created them, and they are empty, so they are ready to receive the files. So let's go back to my Nebula, and to start here, and I will now select files from. This is in EU, the source, and this is test is also in EU. Okay, good. So I'll say from source, I want these 5 folders, adding to my transfers. And I will now go to the other project called test. And this is a lot of things here, so I can actually using this search function, which is really fast and convenient for me. So I could easily find those ones with just my search function. And those are the ones I want to add them to my transfer as well. So I collect the data from different sources, and I now want to consolidate them into a project. So I'll select my destination. Here on the US server, I have one called again Cloudy Friday. And I want to use the project files. And again, I want to include all the versions, attribute data. Again, I could schedule this as a one-time process on a specific date if I wanted to, and I could set up as a recurring if I wanted to. But again, in this case, I'll just transfer it straight away. So all of this is, so far, it seems like I'm working. I think I made a mistake during the first one. So maybe we'll just drop by and see that. Because the first thing I did was doing my delivery. So I was taking data from my Nebula source A folder, and I wanted to send it because I also see here now it hasn't updated this one, so I forgot to tick that box, so maybe I will have to do that again. And if I look at my destination, I have that A folder. It has sent over all of the files just as I wanted to, but it did likely not update this one because I just forgot to tick that box. So I will do that again for you. Because as we see here, we didn't get those copies that we actually put in here. I didn't get the latest version. So I made a mistake. I will make up for that by doing it again. So I'll just go to my Nebula saying I want to transfer my I did synchronize that. I'll just do it again. I'm not going to close down my Revit.
While you do that, again, Klaus, I'm thinking we could do a poll a bit about the audience here and how many people actually working with the project where you have maybe more people on ACC or BIM 360, more different companies. So if it's okay for you, I'll publish a poll while you do.
Yeah.
While you get the right attributes with on the transfer. So it should be on the screen now. Do you have project where more than 2 companies uses ACC or BIM 360? So what we see this, it could be deliveries, but it can also be in order to secure your own data in order to back up from someone else's ACC. So let's say.
And so the thing I forgot the last time was this little tick here. I have to mark that I want it to automatically synchronize the file or publish them before I do the transfer. And I can even decide if I want to do it with or without the links. That's that's an ACC feature. You can select publish with or without. So I will say very good transfer now instead of doing a schedule. So it will actually send the data straight away now, and hopefully we will get a new version that is updated. And then I will, of course, show you how we can do backups, because I think for most people, the delivery is for everybody, but also backup is really a fantastic feature for everybody. And it's using the same functionality that I've been used, as shown earlier. So it's no rocket science, actually, but let me give you an example. So for instance, if I go to this project here, I have called Naviate Cloud Friday. I again could select I know what I want to do backup on. Maybe it's folders I'm working on. I can select those, but I can also select the entire project, for instance. And I will do that here in Nebula. So this one is hosted in US. So I'll jump that, and I have this project Cloud Friday. So it's actually really, really fast. Again, I could search if I want that to. I could also select which kind of columns I want. So it's very flexible user interface, heights if I want to. So, and I'll search by anything here. I could even search from the folders here in the tree. So, but again, I want to do backup on maybe the ones I'm working on, and this one, and this one. And now I will set up that I want to do backup on all of those data in those folders automatically every night, maybe. So again, I will set up my destination. It will be here. I can just send it to this one. Can send it here to the root, and again, maybe I want to synchronize, maybe I want to include, I will have the folders And I will set the schedule reoccurring daily, weekly, monthly, but likely daily. Now I can, and I will just select that it should be done every day. 12 o'clock, so we don't want to see it if I do it 12 o'clock, but again, you will set up, or you can set up an end date when you want this to end. But if you have like a timeout for the project, but again, if I set it up, then it's done automatically, and I will never have to think about it again. You'll just have to set up the correct folders, and it will update automatically, do the things. So it's really taking away all of the pains in my job. And now it will be done whenever it's time. So it's very, very, very convenient. Let's go look at some of the transfer that we actually done now. So to see, I'm not just talking bollocks. First of all, yeah, we did, let me see here, transfers. Now it's doing my second delivery, the manual one. But let's go and look at those other one we had. We had those migration one. Well, we took in files from the BIM 360 project. We were taking these architectural ones, and we selected everyone the information to be included. So that information is a custom parameter. So it's not present from start in ACC. So the system will have to create that and then add in the data on that one. So let's go look on our, I said we should send it to this Cloud Friday, and we have the architecture one. So all the data was transferred, and we got the information as well that I just saw. So it created that automatically and populated it with the same data as we had in BIM 360. So fast and easy, and I didn't lose any data, and I did get my log here, so I could even see my log in Excel format. To see that the data actually went through. And it looks difficult, but it's actually saying all the things. You have different columns here. You see the item status, source file, the destination, and time, and everything was done. So if you actually have all you need to know here, a confirmation that the file has been transferred. So fantastic to see all that status. Yes, then we did the consolidation. We actually took different files from the folders we were taking from this project, the 01 mappen, as it says in Swedish, and then we took the same one here. And then we decided that it should be transferred to this project. So now I see I have the IFC from one project that was from here, that had that one. And the other project had the other folders with all that data. And now everything has come together in this third project through different regions and stuff like that. And it's automatically done. And again, it could be, now I just did a one-time transfer, but it could, might as well have been a reschedule one. But I think in most cases, when you do a consideration, it will just be a one-time process. But again, very, very fast and very easy to set up.
Klaus, maybe it's here we should make some comments about what differs this kind of functionality with the bridge, for example.
Yeah, the build and bridge function, you cannot do that. You can just set up bridge from one project to another one. You cannot do bridge from one region to another region, and you don't have the same flexibility with the scheduling stuff, and you don't get any confirmation or validation when files are transferred. So it is quite different.
Yeah, it's. I mean, I usually explain it as bridge is like if you transfer the file, you transfer the file. Here you transfer the file with version history, and we are of course working on more metadata as well. Now we have attribute, we have versions. I can see there are some questions here that I'm going to answer a bit later. But there are functionality that is being worked on in order to get even more data in on it. So it's just a typical question that we get. It's more metadata. We can transfer it on schedule basis between region and also between BIM 360 and ACC, which you cannot do with Bridge today.
And in here we see we are getting the different versions as well. So I had some files here that it was we have the version history of the files. So they are included, all of that. So that's very, very important for us. Yes. And then we had my delivery. Hopefully that is done now. The one I messed up. Let me just see here. Transfers. You all. Yeah, it is supposed to be done, the delivery. Let's go and see in my from Nebula A folder. Hopefully, did we get the new version here? I don't. Nope. Let me see what has gone wrong. I'm jumping around fast. It actually published here because now I got version 4. So maybe I didn't see the transfer. Yeah, now it has published a new version of the Revit file that is here. So that's done automatically by Nebula because that's what version 3 earlier on. So I'm just not sure if it actually pasted those in yet. It's not being updated yet, so the system is still working on the files. So, so let me just briefly, we are shortly running out of time, so I will just go back to some. I have just a few slides I would like to show to you. So to summarize how Nebula actually will make a difference for you, because it's automated the delivery process as I showed you. It really cuts down that administration, that tedious time it takes to do the uploads, the deliveries, and it reduces the risk with the human errors, as I said earlier on, which is very likely to happen once in a while. And we can simplify the process of migration and consolidation, because it's very, very, very easy to click here what you want to have, and it will automatically get all your history, all the attributes, and it really minimizes the risk of losing data. And it is making a robust backup for you, so you make sure that all the data that is present on another hub you are working on could actually be backed up to your own environment, so you will always have the data. And as you said, we could set it up automatically doing every night, so when you come to the morning you will have fresh backup, and it's really make sure you actually have the ownership of the correct data. So now let's go through. I see we have some questions. That's very, very exciting. So I'm looking forward to answer some of those. Have you selected any good ones, Britta?
I mean, I think it's not that many, so I think we can start from the beginning. Maybe I can take the one from Tim here. Yep. In your experience, if the designer architect is retained from Rebus stage 1 to 6, should they own the data and model information, or should the contractor take ownership during construction and hand over to the client operation cost completion. I think this is actually a quite common one, like where should the live model or the central model be? I mean, first of all, it depends on the contract between the architect and the contractor. But I mean, I think the most important is to have a backup of the delivery. So if you are an architect, you should, even if the central file and the live model is on someone else's hub, it should be backupped to your own hub or in some way. If you are kicked out as an architect or someone else is coming in, it should be backed up. But where the central model is in itself, it depends on projects and the contract. But it definitely should be backed up to your own, so you own your own Revit model, so to say. Because this we also see quite a bit. Don't you agree, Klaus?
Yeah, I agree. I think when we are using a tool like Nebula, it's not as important as it is without the tool, because without tools like Nebula, it's very important that everybody is aligned to where the data is stored and who's the owner of it. And it could be, it's not one rule that applies for every project, because in some projects the owner really want to own the data, because they are using it in a multiple places. Maybe they're taking the data to their economical system, maybe they're taking it to Power BI and stuff like that. So they are maybe using issues as a very important tool throughout the process. That's another ACC tool. That could be a reason why they want to own the data, but in other projects it works just as fine as the thing is done on the architectural hub, for instance, and then just doing deliveries to the owner. So it's I'll not say there's one rule for everybody, but this at least makes it a lot easier.
Yeah. But I mean, the owners sometimes can learn to actually, set the requirement of the Revit model, because we have seen that as well. IFC being delivered as the delivering file, and then we cannot do anything with it really when it comes to changes later.
No.
I think Henrik here also have a very relevant question, and it's a question me and Klaus also asked the developing team, but it is about the possibility to transfer assets, issues, and checklists as well. Maybe you can tell Klaus a little bit about where we are.
Yeah,
where we are there.
At the moment, it's not possible, but it is on our backlog, so we are working on it, because actually when we started developing Nebula, it was not possible through the API to do all of that. But now Autodesk has opened up through the API, and that is good, because then it makes it possible for us to add these functionalities. So it's things we are working on, and it will definitely be included. And I think checklist and issues are the first one to come, and I cannot guarantee when, but it's very, very likely to be in the end of this year. But again, please don't.
It has a high priority. It has a very high priority.
And the functionality is present now, so it can be done, and we are working on it. Because we know we're in the end, we've of course wanted to include an entire project with all the data, because that is the key for us.
And I think it's also important to understand here the back end that comes in, because you see the front end, the user experience. In order for us to transfer this data, it has been like developing that have been going on for over a year now, in order to be able to do this type of data transfer. Even if you see it as your user experience is so easy, it is actually quite a heavy backup in order to make it secure and to be able to transfer it like we are doing. So John here is asking, how does this support real-time workflows? And with real-time workflows, I wonder if he thinks about the design model when we are in a live model.
Yeah, if we are working with a live model, I would say again, you can still working live on a different hub, maybe at an owner's hub, for instance, and then that is your live model. But Nebula will only make backups for you then, so you will have copy of that. You will not be working on the model that Nebula creates. Actually, you will be working on the ones, but just copying it. So that's how I see it. It could be a semi-live also, where you actually have BIM manager may be receiving files from different stakeholders and then doing the aggregated models from all the Nebula deliveries. That could be like a semi-live because it will then be updated like once every day.
And one thing that Autodesk have just opened as well is for us to maybe be able to actually transfer the live connected models as well. So this is also something we work on to see, is it possible for us to actually move one live model from one hub to another. Let's see when we are able to present that, but it's something that Autodesk opens API for. And then Symmetry, as the bigger collaborator with Autodesk, we are also one of the first one to get access to these APIs. So the next one here is is there any limitation to transfer attributes or custom attributes in BIM 360 ACC?
As far as I know, that we don't have any limitations to that. We are able, it's the custom attributes we are able to transfer at the moment.
So there's no limitation to transfer the custom attributes that is added to the file?
No.
Perfect. This one is actually, I would say, maybe a question we are getting more and more to back it up somewhere else, right? From Annabelle there, class. My interest in the product is backup for all Revit files in practice to an offsite alternative cloud location in the worst case scenario if ACC goes down, for example, and there's a requirement for backup somewhere else.
So at the moment, we don't support that workflow going offline. But most likely sounds like a salesperson, because I will say that is, of course, coming in the future, because we do want to support that, because we know it's very, very common use workflow. So, but at the moment, no, it's not supported.
I will maybe change your answer there, Klaus. We do have technology that support this. It's not in this specific tool, but we do have tools in order to back up from ACC to a local location. So we are able to automatize that as well. It's just not in this specific product yet.
No,
but
it's not in Nebula, but it's another tool we can help you with.
So we do have the opportunity to help you there as well.
But it's created more customer specific, because we are using the on-prem destination. So yeah.
Exactly. Okay, so Victoria asks here, can I use this on any ACC or BIM 360 I have access to in my data store on an external ACC? So the limitation is definitely with the access that you have to the data. I mean, this is a security. If not, it would have been a security breach, right? So you need to have admin rights to both.
Not necessarily. I remember, you will have to have access to the files or folders you are working with.
Okay, yeah, that's true. So we need admin to get a plugin for us, but as long as that's there, the only thing you need for the specific project is the access to actually be able to download the file or to get to the file.
What you see and what you can transfer is controlled by what you have permission to in ACC and BIM 360.
Very rare, but what would happen if Autodesk went into administration? Is the data on the cloud secure? So I think it's very important to remember here the size of Autodesk. Sometimes in maybe in the Nordic we can underestimate the size of it, but I mean, when it comes to the security of, it's not even Autodesk servers, it's Amazon servers. And I mean, they store medical data. They store the most, they are the biggest ones storing data all over the world. So, I mean, it is as secure as it gets. The data will not be lost.
So, but of course, we are, as I said earlier, we have one tool making offline backups, and we are working on including that functionality in Nebula as well. But
Klaus, is it Cloud Manager we use to back up as well to local storage, or would you say like Archive Hub is
Naviate Cloud Manager can do it, but you can also do it with Archive Hub, because then you can. I would say Archive Hub is used for making a browsable version of the cloud environment, but offline. We can do that with Archive Hub, and with the other tool we have called Naviate Cloud Manager, we can just do downloads of the files to local storage.
Okay, so Annabelle, to answer your question, basically when we acquire companies, we also get technology with, and two of these actually solve this problem of offsite backup. One is with more metadata, the other one is just to get the data down. But I will, Annabelle, I will reach out to you in order to see what you are actually in need of, and then recommend which one that might be the right fit for you, so to say.
Good. So I just promoted the link to the Nebula webpage, so you can now go through and look on this, everybody. Read more about Nebula, and also try as a trial if you want to, so you can try it out yourself, how easily and effective it actually is.
And as a beta user on our programs as well, you also have a high voice, so to say, in order to vote up different features in order to what we should prioritize when it comes to our own development as well. So, I mean, become a beta user, you also have something to say when it comes to also the development. So would really recommend to go into the page and at least become a beta user if this is something that are of interest. Perfect. 12:02, Klaus. Quite on time, I would say.
Almost. So yeah, we will say thank you very much for attending this, and hopefully it has been interesting and not a waste of time. And please, reach out, as Britta said, and we will do personalized demos for you as well.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
Take care now.